direct mail marketing works.
Well, 100%. If there's one thing that irritates me about marketing now, it's that people think that they invented it since, the browser was invented.
Yeah, right.
That people that are from before that don't really understand, what's going on. And the opposite is true. The concepts, the main principles of marketing haven't changed at all. And unfortunately, a fair number of people that fancy themselves as digital marketers today never bothered to learn those things.
Yep.
And it's still a human being trying to connect with a human being, or even a business trying to connect with a business at its most basic level as a human being.
That's
trying
right.
to connect to, and it's more than about retargeting or getting their email address. It's about making a connection with them, and you don't necessarily need. In fact, I think there's so much noise in digital now. I think it's almost easier again to come back full circle and reach out to people in ways that are uncluttered.
Yes.
So my dad, he worked at the car dealership that he got recruited to for almost 20 years, and they decided to move up north. The neighborhood kind of went bad where he was, and it was getting dangerous, and he was not a daring guy. So it was time to go. And he was smart enough to collect the name, address, phone number of all of the people that he had dealt with for the 20 years he was selling Oldsmobiles, and decided to send them all a letter to tell them where he was now. And I was 11 or 12 at this point. And so my job was to lick 1,200 stamps and lick 1,200 envelopes. And my mom had beautiful calligraphy. She hand addressed all the things, and he had the letters printed up, but then he hand signed every one of them on the bottom.
Wow.
And the people at the new dealership he went over to sell Cadillacs were blown away. Who's this new guy that walked in the door, and there's a line of people waiting to see him. And his bulb went on and decided that was going to be something that he continued, as opposed to having it be a one-time thing, which is an important aspect of any marketing, but certainly direct mail.
Yeah.
And he broke the audience into 3 buckets, he called them. The people that he knew bought a new car back then, the style of cars changed significantly almost every year. Mm-hmm. And you knew if you were looking at a 67 versus a 68 or a 69. And so it was an extra trigger they had to get people to switch cars. Mm-hmm. And plus the cars weren't that good. They didn't last that long. Even Cadillacs were, 80,000 miles. And it was like, well, okay, time, that's running bad.
Yep.
But so he had one group of people that he would send that letter to every 2 years. He had another group where they had asked him to look out for a specific, type of car, make, model of car. And those people were on speed dial.
Wow.
So when that car would get traded in, he sometimes would have it sold before they would have it cleaned up.
Oh my gosh.
And you made a lot more money selling used cars than you did selling a new one. A new one, he got like $25, and a used one, he got 25% of the differential of the profit. So he might make $400 or $500 on a used car. So it was a big deal. But
there's some motivation.
People and say, hey, you're one of only 2 or 3 people I'm calling. This car is perfect. I wouldn't call you if it wasn't. And then the third bucket was just more random, people that didn't fit in to the other 2. So I would say on average for the last 20 years, I got out of the licking stamps and envelopes business when I went away to school, but he continued to send out about 100 letters every month. And there's a concept in the automobile industry called ups. And when you are the first guy in, you put your name on the list. It's like a batting order in baseball. And the leadoff man always has more at bats than the eighth hitter or ninth hitter, because they come back up easy or earlier.
Yep.
And for the last 10 years he was in the business, he never put his name on that list. He did not have to take walk-in traffic.
Wow.
Because he had a steady enough stream of repeat and referral business. The referral for him was crazy. There were people that just said, here's a guy you can trust, and go ask for him. And sometimes there'd be people 2 or 3 deep sitting on the bench in the waiting room. No, I'll just wait for Mr. Hart. And they would. And it served him, very well. And I think going back a little bit to talking about the mistakes that, modern marketers make, I think if you can get as close to the sale as you can and work out from there, instead of getting all in a bunch about retargeting and your funnel and how many steps your funnel is and upselling people and, how close to the transaction can you get?
Yeah.
And I'll give you, a quick story. I think I shared this with you the other day. When I first moved to Arizona, I started up the database marketing department, and we built like $1 million database. It made Cambridge Analytica look like child's play. We had more data other than what websites they were going to, because that wasn't quite a thing yet.
Yeah.
And I was sent to a Cardinals game, an Arizona Cardinals football game, to go in the suite and talk to the newspaper's customers. And a young man came up to me and said, I'm the new marketing director for the Arizona Coyotes. They had just moved to Phoenix. And I'm looking for people that might be interested in renting a suite. I understand you're the data guy.
And we went from football to hockey, right?
Hockey,
the Coyotes are
right.
Yep.
Yeah. So he was the hockey guy. And I said, yeah, I've got a great big lists. And he said, you think you can get me a list of people that might be interested in renting a suite? I said, I sure can. And he said, wow, where? And I said, well, when you pulled in, did you park in the suite parking lot? He said, yeah. He said, did you notice that the name of the suite holders was painted on every one of the parking blocks? So all 200 suite holders here at the football game, you can get the company name right off of the parking block. And he goes,
but that's 200 people
that are, and he goes, yeah, but that's football. I said, doesn't matter. The first thing you want is, can I find people that are already exhibiting the behavior that my clients would exhibit?
Sports fans.
Well, people at businesses big enough to afford $50,000 or $100,000 for a box at the football game can probably afford $30,000 or $40,000 for a box at the hockey game.
There you go.
And there are people that entertain clients in that manner. So the mistake is thinking it's about football, and it's really not. It's about entertaining clients in a special way, which, a suite is a pretty special way to do things. And an hour and a half or so later, I'm driving away from the game when it ended, and I see him standing out in the parking lot with a pad of paper, and I beeped at him. And he waved, and he called me about 3 months later, and he said, I've sold 5 full season suites to people whose names I wrote down from the parking lot.
Get out. So out of roughly, let's say about 200 names, he sold about 5 of those
already.
I mean, and that was
and it's going to take you, people at high levels in corporations big enough to do that are not necessarily going to just answer their phone, or you're not going to get the right person right off the bat. But so he was working that list, and he had already brought in over $150,000.
Thanks for watching Practical Talk on YouTube. Listen to full episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And while you're there, be sure to hit that subscribe button.